भद्रम् कर्णेभिः शृणुजामदेवाः भद्रम् पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितम् यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
ॐ मौनं व्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानं वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे यन्नित्यमानन्दमनन्तमेकं शिवेति नाम्ना श्रुतयो गृह्णन्ति तस्यावतारो नररूपधारी कृपासुदाब्धे भुवि रामकृष्णः जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याता सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। यस्यात्मभूतस्य गुरोः प्रसादात् अहं विमुक्तोऽस्मि शरीरबन्धात् सर्वोपदेष्टुः पुरुषोत्तमस्य तस्याङ्घ्रियुग्मं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। मोचन अगदूषण जगभूषण चिद्घनकाय ज्ञानांजन विमल नयन वीक्षणे मोहः जाय। In this second shloka of Arati song, Swami Vivekananda glorifies Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna as the embodiment of pure consciousness, as the avatara who has manifested for the sake of dharma sthapanam, and as the Jagat Guru who can destroy the ignorance of the disciples. Whenever avatara assumes a body, varieties of people approach according to their maturity, according to their intention. Bhagavan blesses them. If the devotee is artha bhaktaha, suffering, asking for freedom from suffering, asking for removal of suffering, Bhagavan removes their suffering. And if the devotee is asking for prosperity, Bhagavan blesses them with worldly prosperity. And if the devotee is a sinner who wants to get rid of guilt, who wants to lead a new life, he was blessed by the Lord as the pure person. And if the devotee is a highly matured person who asks for freedom from very samsara itself, freedom from self-ignorance, then Bhagavan blesses that devotee with self-knowledge. All these ideas are given in this shloka. Jagabhushanaha word denotes to the Lord's glory, who has manifested the glorious human values in his life. By setting up an exemplary life, Bhagavan inspires humanity to follow the values. And the word Aghadhushanaha, remover of sins, refers to the Lord's Karunyata, He is an embodiment of compassion. And Jnananjana Vimala Nayana Vikshane Mohaha Jai. By the mere glance of the Lord, the delusion is destroyed. Swami Vivekananda says. In this assertion, we have a subtle hidden message. Whoever comes to Lord doesn't get self-knowledge. As I told you, the devotee may be in different stages of maturity and his intention may be different. Ye yathamam prapadyante tam tataiva bhajamyaham, Bhagavan says in Gita. According to their intention, I bless them. If a person comes for the removal of suffering, if he comes for prosperity, I will not force the idea that entire Jagat is mithya. That wealth which you are asking for is nothing but a trash. Like that, I will not force that ultimate idea. I bless that devotee whatever way he wanted to be blessed. But if a devotee is highly matured, who has seen the world, who has seen the transient nature of the world, and who wants to get rid of this birth and death cycle, to him Bhagavan gives the self-knowledge. Therefore, acquiring self-knowledge involves a Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru and a Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna Adhikari. A competent teacher and a qualified disciple are required for gaining the self-knowledge. In the last class, we saw about the competency of a spiritual teacher, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. He must be a Shrotriyaha, he must be a person who has come in the Guru Parampara, and he must be established in that teaching which he wanted to give to the humanity. In this class, we will see the qualification necessary for the devotee who wants to get rid of samsara, who wants to gain self-knowledge. What are all the qualities are prescribed in the scriptures? In this class, we will see. First qualification is that the seeker must seek freedom. He must seek freedom. Generally, everyone knows there is suffering, but everyone doesn't opt for freedom from suffering in a total way. They want piecemeal solution. Suppose a rickshaw puller complains about his sufferings in his life. You are inside that rickshaw. When you ask, how are you? The rickshaw puller tells all his sufferings. So you are accustomed to go to these type of sadhu sangha, ashramas and Vedantic classes. So you are over inspired. Therefore you suggest, why you are troubling yourself in this way? Why can't you renounce the world and join Ramakrishna mission? Suppose if you tell. Then the rickshaw puller will tell, sir, I wanted you to hear my suffering. I never asked solution from you. And that to this type of drastic solution. Like that, people complain about their suffering. And they don't want solution also. Complaining happened to be a habit also for many people. If you give solution, they don't want it. Therefore, Shastra says, a seeker of freedom should be sincere to his seeking. Shravanayapi bahubir yona labhyaha shrinvantopi bahavo yanna vidyuhu ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha ascharyo jnata kushalanusishtaha. Yamadharmaraja says in Kathopanishad, Oh Nachiketas, I am very happy to see you who is really interested in freedom. Because Yamadharmaraja meets everyone. Correct? He meets everyone. So he can tell this statement. Among the varieties of jivas whom I have met already, everyone complains about the punishment, everyone complains about the sufferings in their life. But no one seeks for solution. And I find in my long lifetime, what is the lifetime of Yamadharmaraja? Devatas 1 day is equal to human beings 1 year. Devatas 1 day is equal to human beings 1 year. So in my long lifetime, I have come across many people who complained about suffering, but I have not come across even a single individual who asked for solution. And I am very happy now, oh Nachiketas, I am very, very happy now to see you. Because of this lack of intensity, lack of sincerity in seeking, in spite of hearing thousands of times, in spite of hearing Vedantic teaching thousands of times, nothing happens to humanity. In every ashrama, in every sampradaya, this type of Vedantic teachings are going on told. Do you think that people get it? Or do you think that people come to get it? In Ramayana, when Kumbhakarna was assassinated, Nidra Devi came to Sri Rama and asked, is it proper? Rama, is it proper? What is improper? Rama asked. Is it proper to kill Kumbhakarna? He is a dharmic person, it is proper. No, not from that angle. I had only one shelter in Kumbhakarna. 6 months I can stay with him. With other fellows, maximum 6 hours or 7 hours only. 6 months I can stay with Kumbhakarna. This was my only shelter in the entire creation. And you have destroyed my shelter. Is it proper? Then it seems, Ramji told, it seems, in Kali Yuga, there will be many Vedantic classes. There if you go, you can have these varieties of shelters. So, in Vedantic classes, we find people sleeping or time passing. That's what our Yamadharmaraja says, Shravanayapi bahubir yona labhyaha. Bahubihi Shravanayapi. Many people hear this, but na labhyaha. Shrinvantopi bahavo yenna vidyuhu. The joke is, even after hearing 1,000 times, people will ask, what is the subject matter? One Ramayana Pandit was telling Ramayana Pravachana. 9 days they used to say. One person used to come always and sit in the front row. So after 9 days, the Ramayana Pandit thanked that person. So I saw that all the 9 days you are sitting on the front row and you are enjoying. It seems that you enjoyed my talk. Yes sir, certainly I enjoyed. But I have a doubt. All these 9 days, whatever you told I could understand, but I am not able to understand whether Rama is Asura or Ravana is Asura. Then the Panditji told, neither Rama nor Ravana. I am going to be the Asura. Like that. Shrinvantopi enna vidyuhu. Even after hearing, people never understand. What is the reason? Lack of competency on the part of teacher and the lack of qualification on the part of the student. Here in the case of Swami Vivekananda, he was a well qualified student and Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna happened to be Jagat Guru himself. Therefore only with all gratitude, Swami Vivekananda says, O Lord, by your mere glance, my delusion is destroyed. So if our delusion also should be destroyed, then we should qualify ourselves. And in Vedanta, they have given 4 types of qualifications. First qualification is mumukshutvam, seeking. One should seek. How much intensity the seeking should be? Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna himself used to say that a person went to a teacher, spiritual teacher, and asked him, requested him to show the Lord. Please show the Lord. The teacher told, you come tomorrow. Disciple came next day. Then immediately the spiritual teacher took him to the river and drowned him inside the river, holding his head inside the water. This fellow was shouting and trying to come out of that water. Then after a few minutes, when the teacher allowed the person to come out of that water, that disciple asked, "Sir, I asked you to show Bhagavan. You are trying to show me Yamadharma Raja." Then the teacher asked, "All right, when you were in the waters, what was the most need you felt?" He told, "What is this question? Nothing but breath. That prana shakti is the only thing I wanted at that moment. Suppose entire creation is given as an offering to you, as an exchange for this breath. Will you accept it?" The teacher asked. "No, sir. Why? What is the use of having entire creation as the wealth when I myself am not going to live?" So, that type of intensity must be there. That's what Upanishad says, "Nayamatma balahinena labhyaha na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yeme vaisha vrunute tena labhyaha tasyesa atma vivrunute tanugum swa." That entity is attained by him, one who seeks that entity. All other things will be secondary. This seeking is called mumukshutvam in the Vedantic term. Without this seeking, any other great qualities like doing tapas, hearing shastra vichara, or doing japa, meditation, these are all secondary spiritual practices. Gaining self-knowledge under a competent teacher is the primary spiritual practice for a person who is seeking after the ultimate truth. And all other spiritual practices like doing japa, prayer, seva and other things are all valid only when person is mumukshuhu. If he doesn't want to get rid of the samsara, what will happen? He will use all his prayers and tapas for the sake of gaining more and more power in this world. That's what happens with regard to asuras and rakshasas. Like Hiranyakashipu, nobody can do tapasya. Like Ravana, nobody can do tapasya. They also chanted mantras. They also worshipped the Lord. And if you see Ravana's life, he was a samagani. He used to sing samagana, hearing which Bhagavan Shiva used to be very happy. But what happened? His devotion was encashed as what? As power. That's what here Vedanta says. All your spiritual practices has validity only if you have this mumukshutvam, this seeking. How this seeking can be a genuine one, an intense one? If you ask, Shastra points out the stages of gaining this tivra mumukshutvam. First stage is vivekaha. First stage is vivekaha. Discrimination. Discrimination between the reality and the unreality. Discrimination between the means and the end in life. Many people don't have this discrimination. Many people consider the means as the end of life. Money is a means. No one can enjoy money. No one can eat money. Correct? Money is a means. But many people consider money as a end. Like that, which is a means, which is an end, people are confused. Here Vedanta says, entire life and its achievements must be means for gaining this knowledge. The problem of an individual is not external world, is not God. The problem of an individual is his own notions, unverified notions. Somehow or the other he has given judgment about himself that I am good for nothing, I am a small entity. The jivatvam is the problem. The solution will be Brahmatvam. I am jivaha, I am small a tiny individual having lots of problems. How can you say that this is a notion? How can you say that this is a confusion? If you ask, Vedanta says, as long as you have body identity, so long only you can have this idea that I am small. In your sleep, you don't have an idea that I am small. Because somehow or the other, by natural process, you are made to forget your body identity. Tatra mata amata bhavati, pita apita, steno asthenaha. Nobody sleeps as father or as mother or as thief. Before going to sleep, all these identity were there. But once he is engulfed in sleep, once he is overpowered with sleep, then naturally all these identities are dropped off. If he gets off sleep and because of which a dream he has, then another type of identity comes. There he identifies with dream body, and the problem will be what? With regard to dream body alone. He will be lying in AC room. If he dreams that he is walking in the forest and the tiger is chasing him, that is very real for him. That's why he can shout. While sleeping, people shout. Sound sleep, they call it. Two types of sounds. Every breath people will give a sound, or once in a while they will talk and shout. Save me, save me, save. Mother who is nearby finds nobody is there to hurt this child. My child, why you are shouting? Tiger, tiger, tiger. So the problem is, when you identify with particular body, then problem comes. When there is no identity at all in deep sleep, no problem at all. Therefore your problem is jivatvam, identity with this physical body as yourself. Even though it is proved that it is an object of your perception, that is the reason it is not you. It is an object of your perception. Anything which is perceived by you is not you. You are the perceiver. With all logic, Vedanta tries to teach this, but still mind is not able to assimilate that teaching. Therefore it considers as jivaha. This is the problem. The problem is I am small. Therefore the solution must be what? I am infinite. God is infinite is not the solution for me. God is infinite. God is all powerful. Cannot solve my problem. If I consider myself as a poor person, so and so is rich, will not solve my poverty. What is the solution for my poverty? I should be rich. Similarly, Vedanta says, if the problem is I am small, if the problem is the idea that I am small, then the solution must be the knowledge that I am infinite. And you can get this knowledge only through a competent teacher. Therefore, going to that competent teacher is the best thing one person can do for gaining this self-knowledge. This is called vivekaha in Sanskrit, discrimination. And this discrimination will lead to vairagyam, dispassion. Second quality. Vairagyam. What type of vairagyam? Not grapes or sour vairagyam. Many people say, I don't want. If you ask why, not possible for me to get, therefore I don't want this. Or in a sophisticated way, many people say it is not useful, therefore I don't want. That type of vairagya is not mentioned in the scripture. The scripture says you should be very, very convinced about the smallness of every blessed thing in the creation. Your problem is smallness. And every blessed thing in the creation also is small. Any amount of addition of small object in your life cannot make you as an infinite entity. In the previous classes, I might have told you, any achievement you do, society will ask, so what? As a child, he was inspired by mother to get good marks in 10th standard. When the child brings the mark sheet with 99%, Mother is happy for one moment, then she asks, so what? 12th standard. Then you bring plus 2 mark sheet. So what? Degree. You bring PhD. So what? Employment. You become CEO of a big company. So what? MLA. You become MLA. So what? MP. You become MP. So what? Prime Minister. You become Prime Minister. So what? Party leader is there. Any moment he can pull your leg. So what? So what? So what? Any achievement in the human life will be with this question, so what? Tatakim, tatakim, tatakim. Shankaracharya puts beautifully in his stotra. Tatakim, so what? There is only one situation wherein this so what question will not be there, and that situation is, I am everything, I am infinite. When you claim in real way, when you claim, there is no question, so what? How can you say so? How can you say so? There will be no question. Vedanta says, there will not be second entity at all to ask this question. As long as you continue to be a small entity, any amount of addition of small things in the creation will not make you as a Purna Vastu, as infinite entity. How can you say everything in the creation is small? Vedanta beautifully says, everything in the creation is small because it is limited by Desha Kala Vastu Parichedaha. Any object is limited by space. Any situation, any person, any enjoyment, all are limited by space and time. Therefore, it's all subject to arrival and departure. Any blessed thing in the creation is subject to arrival and departure. Therefore, it is small. You cannot become a Purna Vastu by gaining one more small entity in your life. Therefore, the conviction that my life hereafter will not be for small thing at all is called dispassion. It is not like grapes are sour. He has gone through varieties of experiences. Upanishad says, Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamayat nasti akrita kritene. He is a brahmana, he is a wise person, a discriminative one, a thinking person who has used his thinking faculty in analyzing the situations of life. Any door I knocked at, I got in some places, I did not get in some places. Whether I got it or not got it, my suffering continued. From childhood, I cried for balloon came. Sometime my mother gave me balloon. Sometimes she refused to give. But when she refused to give, that time also I cried. When she handed over balloon, that time also I cried. How? Why you cried? When she handed over the balloon, I seemed to be happy, but one idiot came and pricked that balloon, so I started crying. Correct? So whether you get it or not get it, your cry doesn't stop. Therefore, that intelligent person has come to the conclusion, any amount of addition of small thing in my life will not make me a Purna Vastu. Nasti akrita kritene. Akritaha purnatvam kritena nasti. Kritena karmana karma falena nasti. This maturity is called Vairagyam. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna used to tell it through a beautiful simile. A crow picked a bone piece. Then all other birds saw that something this crow is having. So all other crows started chasing that crow. Then that crow tried to escape from all other birds. They were not leaving him. Then finally, that crow dropped that bone piece. Once the bone piece is dropped, what happened? All the other birds went behind bone piece, leaving the crow. This is called Vairagya. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, as long as you don't get this Vairagyam, all your spiritual practices will be Namke Vaste. A young girl went to friend's house. There she saw silver glass. Somehow she wanted it, so she took it and hidden under her arms. The friend brought coffee, then she observed silver glass was there, suddenly disappeared. So how to ask? Hey, did you steal? How to ask the friend? So the house owner lady told, let us dance with joy like that. So how to dance? Keeping silver glass under the arm, how to dance? So this lady who has stolen that glass, she was dancing with one hand. Then house owner lady was very intelligent. No, my dear friend, we will dance with both hands. So, as long as you don't raise both the hands, your dance will not be completed. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna used to say this to teach the disciples. The seeking will be sincere and intense only if you raise both the hands. If you don't possess anything mentally, if you don't consider anything as a leaning chair, as a dependable entity in your life, you may use them. You may use that. But you should not depend upon that. Mental independency is mentioned as vairagyam. Na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyagi naike amritatva manashuhu, Upanishad says. When Yamadharma Raja offered so many nice things, long life, Chakravarti post, and many heavenly women, and chariots, and elephants, land, wealth, everything. That time Nachiketas says, all right, all these things are okay, but I don't want, he says. Why you don't want? Compared to the thing which you refuse to give, what Yamadharma Raja refused to give? The self-knowledge. Compared to thing which you refuse to give, these are all very, very small things. Once I gain that knowledge, I am going to be infinite entity. So everything I am, everything is mine. So what you are going to give is small thing only. Shobhava matyasya yadanta kaitat sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha api sarvam jivitam alpameva tavaiva vaha tavanutya gite na vittena tarpaniyo manushyaha lapsyamahe vittam adrakshma chetva jivishyamo yavadi ishyasitvam varanam esha varasthritiyaha. The vara, the boon which I asked is the best possible boon. Therefore, I want that only. How can you say so? Nachiketas, I have given you a long life. Long life also will have last day. Then I have given you plenty of wealth. Yamadharma Raja says, then Nachiketa asks, in your long lifetime, have you come across any one individual who got satisfaction by wealth? Na vittena tarpaniyo manushyaha. Maybe life may be with limited period. The wealth also may not give you satisfaction, but you can enjoy as long as it is there. You can enjoy these women, these sensory pleasures, this power, position. Then Nachiketa says, all these are all mere nonsense which are going to drain my energy. Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. What you call as sense pleasure is nothing but draining one's own energy. What a logical answer. He says, any sense pleasure is a contact between sense organ and the object. Every contact will drain the power of the sense organ. If a person goes on, sees TV for 6 hours in a day, then doctor will come and say, don't see TV. If a person goes on, eats sweet, doctor will tell, sir, you have become sugar mill, so don't eat sugar. So every contact between the sense organ and the sense object drains the power of the individual. Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. Little bit you can enjoy. When Yamadharma Raja says that little bit also will have an end. Api sarvam jivitam alpameva. The best ice cream in the world, how much time you can eat, you tell. One ice cream. In India, Baskin Robin, 100 rupees. Little cup only they will give. How much time you will take? Or Faluda. My teacher used to say, a stingy fellow went to have this Faluda. He paid 100 rupees. One small glass they gave. He saw, small glass, 100 rupees. All right. Little bit I sip. So he sipped. Because of the taste, he sipped half of the glass. Now, one sip, 50 rupees out. He is a stingy fellow. What? 50 rupees? Oh, I should drink little. Then he was gone seeing. The butler who was serving, sir, this is for drinking, sir, not for seeing. No, 100 rupees. 100 rupees everybody knows, sir. You have bought it for drinking. Drink, sir. No, little only. Already half an hour over, sir. So how much time you will keep that enjoyment, you tell. That's why whenever you enjoy something, you will have two types of comments. One comment will be positive, another comment will be negative. Suppose Baskin Robbins ice cream if you eat. That shop it was nice, but today, one comment. Another comment, that day it was not nice, but today it is nice. How much time it is nice? 10 minutes only. Afterwards you have another work. So, Nachiketa says, Api sarvam jivitam alpameva. Not only your powers are drained by sensory pleasures, the very life happened to be, the experience happened to be a small thing. Therefore, I don't want anything. This type of conviction is called vairagyam. Any type of advertisement will not provoke this person. Which person? A person who is discriminative and dispassionate will not be provoked by any type of advertisement because of his maturity. For explaining this, they used to say, suppose a balded wala sees shampoo advertisement. Balded. What will happen? Will he be provoked? Seeing the shampoo advertisement, what the balded wala will think? Balded wala, you know, balded? Valkutala. Some of you are scratching your head. Okay. So, it is like a dispassionate mind of a balded wala with regard to shampoo advertisement. Kakavisthayam yathavat. Suppose a crow has dropped. How much time it will take for you to tick off? Will you think, should I tick off or not? Even though it appears to be golden color. Drops of some birds will be appearing as golden or silver color. How much time it will take to tick off? Will you think half an hour or 1 hour? It happens spontaneously. Similarly, this dispassionate and discriminate person ticks off every blessed thing in the creation. Then third quality is a mind with tranquility. A mind with sense control, a mind with shanti, a mind with shraddha, shama, dama, uparama, titiksha and shraddha. These are all wealth of the mind. Shamaha means well-controlled mind. I will say what I want in my life. I will decide. Then damaha, sense control. I will allow my sense organs to go after which I decide to go after. Other things cannot provoke. That type of control. Then uparama. Even when people don't have anything around them, they will be wandering. Mentally they will be wandering. That mental meandering will not be there. He will be always serene and calm, engaged in fruitful activities, uparama. Then titiksha, he will never complain about the suffering in the life. He will accept the suffering because he knew that the very life is for the sake of suffering. Anityam asukam lokam. The design of entire creation is producing suffering to the jiva. Why it should be like that? Then only you will ask, why I am born. Many people come to me and ask this question. Swami, why I am born? I used to say, you should ask this question to your parent, not to me. Appa amma kekkanum. Why I am born? No. Why I am born? Why this creation? Vedanta says to ask this question and find the answer for this question. The entire creation is given for you to ask this question and find the answer for this question. Why I am born? When you ask, then Vedanta asks, are you really born? If you ask why I am born, Vedanta says, are you really born? Please find out. Yes, I am born on so and so date. Vedanta says, you are not born. Your body is born. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. Like that, the answer you get slowly. To ask this question and find the answer, the creation is given. Therefore, no complaint about situation in life. And Shraddha. Shraddha in Guru Vakyam. Shraddha in Shastra Vakyam. All the sense organ inform us that we are small. Mind says I am small. Sense organ says I am small, lacking, individual. But Shastra says you are infinite. You are Amritasya Putra. So, which one I should take as the knowledge in my life? Unfortunately, every individual has taken the message given by sense organs and mind as the knowledge. Therefore, his life is a painful life. But Shastra says you need not suffer at all, provided if you choose to gain this knowledge. So, this Shraddha, allowing the Shastra to speak to me, allowing the teacher, spiritual teacher to speak to me, to work out in my mind. Suppose a scientist, a physicist comes and teaches E equal to mc square. In the very first class itself, the student says, sir, I don't believe it. Then teacher will tell, hey, it is not the matter for belief, it's a matter of understanding. No, sir, I have no patience, I am going out. Who is the loser? The student is the loser. So very beginning itself you reject scripture. Very beginning itself you reject the spiritual teacher. Then for scripture there is no loss, nor for the spiritual teacher. But you are the loser. Therefore Shastra says, have Shraddha Astikya Buddhihi. So, Mumukshutvam, seeking, then Vivekaha, discrimination, then Vairagyam, dispassion, and fourth one is Shatka Sampattihi, quality mind. With these four, if a person approaches the competent teacher, then he gains the knowledge. Gaining these four things are very, very painstaking and time-taking thing. Everyone knows Vedanta. What is Vedanta? And they will tell to others also. In your life itself, you would have told so many people this Vedanta. I will give you an example. Suppose somebody died. You go to that house. What you will tell? Your friend is crying. What you will tell? Life means like that only. Anybody who has born, he has to die. This is Vedanta. Jatasya hi dhruva mrityuhu. In Sanskrit, if you say, if you go there and say, Jatasya hi dhruva mrityuhu, the friend will see from which planet this fellow has come. Because in Tamil Nadu, Sanskrit means prohibited language. So, Jatasya hi dhruva mrityuhu. If you say, he will stop crying and see, who are you? But if you say, anybody who is born will die, then he will tell, I know that also. This is not the moment to tell. So like that, in our Guru Parampara, they used to say, in a death house, people are crying, a sannyasi went that side. He went and asked why you are all crying like that. So they told like this. So he told, these are all natural things. World has to go on. Vandavareல்லாம் தங்கிவிட்டால் மண்ணில் இடமேது. People who have come here, if they go on stay, neither you will be happy nor they will be happy. So allow them to get off. Because of this, the sannyasi's words, they got little bit pacified. So that young boy of that house became friendly to that Swami. So he started visiting that ashrama. One day he saw the monk was crying. This young boy was wondering, what is this? Swami, that day you told crying is weakness. Crying should not be, nobody should cry. Like that you told, crying is ignorance you told. Now you are crying. What happened? The monk told, ashrama dog has passed away. Ashrama dog passed away. Then the young boy asked, Swami, is it proper? When my father passed away, you told, don't cry, don't cry. When your dog passed away, you are crying. Then the monk told, it seems. Friend, everybody knows Vedanta. But assimilating that Vedanta is the problem. Understand? So, this happens only if we are sincere, only if we seek the help from the Lord. Ishvara Kripa, very, very important. Sri Ramakrishna used to say a small simile of this entire journey. The journey of a small individual gaining the knowledge that I am infinite. It's a spiritual journey. This journey, how it completely depends upon one's sincerity and Lord's grace. Old mother was suffering from disease. Doctor came and gave a prescription. That medicine is a peculiar prescription. The doctor told, you should go to forest on so and so Swathi Nakshatra day. And that time rain should fall. The rainwater should be gathered in a skull. To drink that water, a frog should come. To catch that frog, a king cobra should come. And in that attempt of catching, frog should escape. The king cobra should give out the poison. That poisonous water is the medicine for your mother's disease now. Hearing this, the fellow swooned. Because so many things are there. First thing, Swathi Nakshatra day, up to that time that old lady should be alive. Then all Swathi Nakshatra day, you don't get rain. Every month Swathi Nakshatra comes. Does Tamil Nadu get rain? So, Swathi Nakshatra day, getting rain is difficult. Even if it is raining, it should drop on the skull. Where to find out skull? Human skull. Okay. Even if I could gather some water, how to bring a frog to drink that water? Can I invite? Come, you please come, water is there. Then when frog comes, how to bring the king cobra? Every stage is full of miraculous happening. But this fellow was so attached to mother, and he completely depended upon the Lord. He prayed to the Lord, oh Lord, first thing is up to Swathi Nakshatra day, my mother should be alive. Then Swathi Nakshatra day came. Oh, today rain should come. Rain came. 2 stages crossed. Then he saw where the rain is pouring. Then he found in that burial ground, that skull was there. Then water was gathering. Then suddenly he prayed, oh Lord, please bring the frog. Frog also came. Then, oh Lord, last attempt. King Cobra should come then. King Cobra also asked. Then finally, final attempt is what? The frog should escape. That also happened. Telling this story, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna used to say, by God's grace, every impossible thing will happen. The most impossible thing, very, very difficult things in our life is changing our own thinking pattern. Every stage of change in your thinking pattern is like this. Understand? Even a small thing you cannot give up. A small notion you cannot give up. That's how, even after hearing so many times that alcohol kills people, alcohol, kudiyai kedukkum, alcohol kills people, kills society. Telling this as advertisement, the government itself produces alcohol. See, if it destroys the society, why should the government should do? All right, even if government is doing, why should public should go there? Every drunkard knows that he is suffering because of the drink, but still he is not able to change his attitude. Similarly, every notion in our life is destroying our peace, destroying our Purnatva, but still we are not able to give up that. The change. Even if it is brought by forcibly, suppose a person is addict for cinema, 3 hours, 4 hours cinema seeing habit, one day there is no power. During this Chennai flood, from Ashrama we went for so many areas. Everybody told so many things. Among all the complaints, one complaint was common. Swami, oru TV illa, oru paattu illa, no cinema, no songs. 1 week over, Swamiji, no cinema, no song. One fellow told, just now Deepavali time, I brought home theatre with all expectation that I can enjoy. That means what? Even if the situation is brought by force, by external force, people are not ready to go through that change. Therefore, Shastra says, it is not a joke to conquer your own whims and fancies. It is not a joke to be a discriminative person. It is not a joke to give up all pursuits and seek for the Lord. It is not a joke to keep your mind tranquil, calm, uncomplaining, without grumbling. And it is not a joke to have Shraddha in the words of the spiritual teacher and Shastra. If you have all these things, then your journey will be a successful journey. And for that, first thing is, you must be sincere, and not only your sincerity is enough, Bhagavan also should bless you. When sincerity, Purusha Prayatna and Ishvara Kripa joins together, finally the Jiva get this Purnatvam. This happened in the life of Swami Vivekananda. He also had lots of unwanted notions. He says in one place that I want to forget all my education, because all nonsense ideas he got in his young age, the Western psychology and so many other things. He had to study that. Now also our children also, our students also study what? All nonsense only. Unproved, unprovable, either in the form of belief or in the form of theory. If you go for religion, unproved and unprovable belief. God is everywhere, all pervasive God, sitting on chair in heaven with a crown. He is formless entity. You see, a formless entity sitting with a crown, without head. Imagine. This is what belief. Western belief is this is what? God doesn't have form, but sits in throne, having a crown in heaven. And you go to the science side, all are theories. From monkey, human being has come. Evolution theory, Big Bang theory, string theory, all are theories. Nothing can be proved. They themselves say. But systematically they theorize. And this Dravida, Arya theory, it's all theories. For some time they got benefit, got popularity, money, and thrown away into the waste basket. But our fellows will be continuing that same. Dravidian Aryan theory was falsified 50 years before. Till date in our parliament the talk was going on whether it is right or wrong. Because money. So it's very, very difficult to be a discriminative one, to be a dispassionate one, to be a person with devotion and discipline. So, Swami Vivekananda's life we see, it's a drama of Bhagavan and a Rishi. Rishi has come in the form of Swami Vivekananda, Bhagavan has come in the form of Sri Ramakrishna. So they staged a beautiful drama which will be a good model for modern community. Like this, a person who is educated in a wrong way in his young age, even if that wrong education happened to be there in his mind, if he is sincere and if he gets a proper guide, he will be free from all samsaric notions. He will be free from samsara. Swami Vivekananda says in this shloka, O Lord, just by your mere glance, my samsara is destroyed. With this, we conclude the analysis of second shloka of this Arati song. Still 6 shlokas are there. We will see in the next class. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrudavigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamedyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namami. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.